When most people picture Arlington National Cemetery, they see order. Endless rows of white headstones stretching across rolling green hills, perfectly aligned, quiet, almost peaceful. Today, more than 400,000 service members, veterans, and their families rest here across 639 acres, each stone a name, a life, a story. But standing there in person, especially with someone seeing it for the first time, you realize something else. This place doesn't feel quiet. It feels heavy. Because beneath those perfect rows, beneath the silence and symmetry, is a story most people never hear. A story not just of sacrifice, but of war, grief, and revenge. Before it became a cemetery, this was a home. The Arlington estate belonged to Mary Anna Custis Lee, the great-granddaughter of Martha Washington. Her husband, Robert E. Lee. For decades, they lived in Arlington House, perched high above the Potomac with a view of Washington, D.C. A view that once felt like a privilege, until the Civil War turned it into a liability. In 1861, Lee was offered command of the Union Army by Abraham Lincoln, but Virginia had seceded, and Lee chose his home state. Within weeks, the Lee family fled, never to return. Not because they didn't want to, but because what came next made sure they couldn't. By 1864, the war was consuming lives faster than they could be buried. Washington's cemeteries were full. The Union needed space, and the man in charge of finding it was Quartermaster General Montgomery C. Meigs. He had once served under Lee, respected him, trusted him, and when Lee chose the Confederacy, Meigs took it personally. So when he chose Arlington, it wasn't just strategy. It was something deeper, something sharper. He ordered burials to begin immediately, not at the edges, but right up against the Lee family home. Soldiers were laid to rest in Mrs. Lee's rose garden. Graves crept closer and closer to the house, and when officers tried to show restraint, Meigs overruled them. He ordered a burial vault built in the center of the garden, holding the remains of 2,111 unknown Union soldiers. A permanent message, a line drawn in stone. On June 15, 1864, Arlington officially became a national cemetery. And just like that, a home became a place of the dead. Years later, that idea of honoring the unknown would evolve into one of the most sacred places in the country, the tomb of the unknown soldier. After World War I, 4 unidentified American soldiers were exhumed from battlefields in France. A decorated soldier, Sergeant Edward F. Younger, was given a simple task: choose one. He walked among the identical caskets and placed a single white rose on one. That soldier came home. On November 11, 1921, he was laid to rest. Behind the tomb are words that still echo across generations. Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God. Since 1937, the tomb has been guarded every second of every day. Rain, snow, hurricanes, doesn't matter. The sentinels of the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, never leave. Their steps are precise. 21 steps forward, pause, turn, 21 seconds. A silent tribute to the 21-gun salute. Even their uniforms carry a quiet humility, no rank displayed, so they never outrank the unknown. And for a time, there was one more. A Vietnam War unknown. Until 1998, when DNA identified him as Michael J. Blassie. He went home, and the crypt remains empty. A reminder that even in death, we are still searching for names. Then came a moment that reshaped Arlington forever. 1963, the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Instead of returning him to Massachusetts, Jacqueline Kennedy chose Arlington. She remembered something he once said, standing on that hillside, that he could stay there forever. And so, he did. At the end of the funeral, Jackie lit a flame. It wasn't planned, it wasn't approved, but it became permanent. The John F. Kennedy eternal flame still burns today, relit automatically if it ever falters. A small light in a place filled with loss. We didn't rush this place. We couldn't. My son stood there, looking out over those endless rows, and went quiet. Not bored, not distracted, just still. You don't really understand Arlington until you watch someone else see it for the first time. We sat for a while at the tomb, watching the guard. No one talked, not really. Even the crowd felt different there. Quieter, more aware. And somewhere between the walking and the silence and the weight of it all, you realize this isn't just history. It's cost. If you've ever walked these grounds or stood in that silence, I'd love to hear your story. Because Arlington isn't just a place we visit. It's a place we carry with us. From a seized home to a battlefield of memory to one of the most sacred spaces in the nation, Arlington is more than a cemetery. It is a promise that no matter how much time passes, no matter how far we move forward, we will remember. Not perfectly, not always loudly, but faithfully, row by row, name by name.